values. If you don't like it, it's too damn bad. No, we're not Wiccans. No, we're not Muslims. No, we are not those things. You can be it if you want, but you're not going to tell us this nation was founded by a bunch of devil worshippers, and you're not going to tell us the nation was founded by Muslims, because it was not. We don't chop people's hands off if they steal. We don't throw rocks at women who commit adultery. We don't throw homosexuals off roofs. This country was founded on justice and peace in the Judeo-Christian manner. Borders, language, and culture. That's my revolution. If you don't like it, it's too damn bad. Vote for me or don't vote for me. It's a simple message. And I don't care what they would say to me. I wouldn't care what one of these little rats with a microphone ask me a question. I'll tell them, I don't care what you think about me. Go report anything you want. New York Times doesn't mean anything. You don't represent America. You're garbage. You're garbage and filth, and most of the country knows it. Drop dead. Get away from me. I'm talking to the voter, not you. That's what Borders, Language, and Culture stands for. You want to bully me, I'll bully you back. How would you like a candidate like that? I bet you'd vote for him. You want my policies? You want more of my policies? I'll give them to you as the show evolves. I've had enough of this.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust to protect my wealth. Call 800-BUY-COIN. Stand up to the progressive Islamic bullies in this country who are going to kill all of us. Stand up to the gangsters in the White House and their surroundings. Stand up to the progressive phonies who are bullying you at every turn. Now, many of you don't believe this is happening because the media continues to bend over backwards to support a president who will not even say the word Islamic when he talks about the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. They call themselves ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, and yet this gangster in the White House won't even use the word Islamic. They call themselves Islamic, but he says they aren't. Nevertheless, in this country, in every conceivable space, from immigration policy to law enforcement to education to social policy to the military, Islam is accommodated and defended while Christianity and Judaism are attacked. Left-wing publications print completely false stories about university campus rapes, military rapes that don't exist, while ISIS forces 8-year-old girls to marry if they're Muslim and become sex slaves if they aren't. Where are the feminists who are outraged over these atrocities? Why aren't gay activists marching in the streets over ISIS throwing homosexuals off rooftops? I'll tell you why. They're too busy bullying Christian bakeries and pizzerias out of business for not wanting to bend at the knee to their homosexual weddings. Meanwhile, the Obama bullies have refused to curb illegal immigration through our southern border or to deport them once they're caught in violation of the bully's oath. But let me tell you something. Illegal immigrants from Central and South America are not the biggest immigration threat facing us. Much more dangerous are the hundreds of thousands of Muslims this administration has brought in through its refugee program from war-torn Muslim countries such as Somalia and now Syria. What possible reason can there be for admitting more Muslim refugees than Christian when Christians are being slaughtered by the thousands in the new Holocaust in the Middle East? Why bring in the people sworn to kill us and leave those being killed to fend for themselves? Because the bullies want it that way. It's divide and conquer. They're very, very clever, these sorority girls, aren't they? This is the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere. I'm Michael Savage. Borders, language, culture.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
So we have a nation of sleepwalkers run by bullying gangsters, overriding the population, threatening the Supreme Court, breaking our borders, spitting on our language, decimating our culture. And now it comes out, here's the cherry on the cake, the Frankenstein in the White House, who's been trying to push this trade deal with Asia. It's just found out, just now, there's a secret immigration clause or chapter in Obama's trade agreement that would give him ultimate authority over all immigration. He could bypass Congress completely. And what's amazing to me is that Ted Cruz was for this. How long have I told you Ted Cruz was a weasel? I have no idea how so many smart people in the media were taken in by Ted Cruz. How could you not look right through that guy and know he's not a weasel? Why would he be in favor of this? And why would you vote for a guy like whatever his name is, the ice cream man, Rubio? I know you're all defending him over the motorboat because that's the topic du jour. That he has an 80,000 motorboat and it doesn't mean he's rich. That's your big topic on Earth, you hear? 3 hours now people talk about his motorboat isn't really a yacht. I don't care whether he has a yacht or a motorboat. I care that he's just a stooge of Larry Ellison. My poodle has more independence than Rubio does. My poodle has more of a spine than Rubio does. My poodle has more self-respect than Rubio does. Rubio is a paid stooge of Larry Ellison. Now, why would Larry Ellison, a genius, owns Oracle, why would he latch on to this ice cream man, Rubio? Because Rubio is in favor of amnesty for illegal aliens and as many H-1B visas as Larry wants to print. Zuckerberg, Larry, Microsoft, they all want to print H-1B visas in order to replace IT workers. Why is that? Don't they have enough money? How many yachts can they own? How many castles can they own? How many islands can they own? How much money can they make? There's no end to it. They're like the nowhere men in the Beatles thing from the 1960s. They're sucking themselves into their own horn of greed. Greed has no limits. Greed is a nymphomania. Greed is like a nymphomania amongst these people. There is not enough money in the world. There's not enough gold in the world for these nymphomaniacs. These nymphomaniacs who are decimating American workers, bringing in Indians to replace them like Disney did. So Michael Iger can make more than $46 million next year. A greedy mentality unlike anything we have seen since the Aztecs were decimated by the Spaniards. Write this one down in your history books. When the conquistadors came from Spain to enslave and kill and rob the gold out of the Americas, there was not enough gold in the area for them. And after they'd almost destroyed the entire Aztec culture, one of the surviving natives said, they have a disease. The Spaniards have a disease, the gold disease, for which there is no cure. There is not enough gold in the world for these Spaniards. And of course, the rest is history. I say the same is true for Ellison, Microsoft's founder, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg. All of these people are like the conquistadors. There's not enough gold for them. There's not enough profit for them. There's no end to it. They would decimate the country that gave them their power and their wealth in the name of a better bottom line. So as I said in the last hour, and it's a hard hour to follow, I admit it. I'm the hardest act in the world to follow, especially when I do a great first hour, which I did. But I can guarantee you I'll top it in this hour. Not initially. I'm slow starting sometimes. First hour, I talked about bullying, and I ended with talking about what I would do if I were a candidate, how I would treat the media, and what I stood for. And if you missed it, well, I'm not going to repeat it. Let's see where we go with that right now on the Savage Nation, 855-400-7282. This is unbelievable if you're ready for this one. Here is the gangster-in-chief, the biggest bully in the history of America, at the Catholic Health Association conference, again trying to push the big lie that immigrants come here to work in clip number 06.
The rugged individualism that defines America has always been bound by a shared set of values, an enduring sense that we're in this together, that America is not a place where we simply turn away from the sick or turn our backs on the tired, the poor, the huddled masses. It is a place sustained by the idea, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that we have an obligation to put ourselves in our neighbor's shoes and see each other's common humanity.
First of all, it's a big lie. Let me explain to you where that phrase came from. Give me your tired, your poor, and the huddle, and your huddled masses. It's a statement on the Statue of Liberty itself. Many of you think that the same rules apply now. We did not have a massive welfare state when that was written. We didn't have a welfare state where the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses could come and sit on their fat behinds and not make a contribution to our society and sit there and breed children and suck us dry. No, it was a different time when it was written. Give me your tired, your poor, and your huddled masses. My grandfather was one of those huddled masses. He didn't come here on welfare. Came here, worked 7 days a week, and had a heart attack at 47 and died. He was one of the huddled masses. He didn't go for Obamacare. He didn't get any free, no handouts. Nobody was waiting for him with a check and a lawsuit. No one told him that he didn't have to learn English. They told him, get online, Sam, and learn English or you're never going to vote here. So he learned English. Don't give me this crap about the tired, the sick, and the huddled masses. That statement was written by, I think, Emma Goldman. Will you check it out, Robert? I think it was Emma Goldman. I'm pretty sure. And again, mark it down because I'm educating you today. That phrase was written when there was no welfare state. We have a welfare state now. We can't afford all the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses of the world. And the gangster knows that. The bully knows that. 855-407-282 is the phone number. Meanwhile, the Middle East is burning. Everyone's fearing it's 1914. Everyone now fears a war, a giant war pitting Shia Muslims against Sunni. Everyone fears that except the sorority that's causing it. Everyone fears it except Daddy Longlegs in the White House. The amazing, shriveling president. The man shrinking right in front of our eyes. Losing weight. I'm actually worried for him. I wish him no harm. I just wish they would impeach him and arrest him for the crimes against America. Why is he losing so much weight? What's wrong with him? What illness does he have? Am I, as a citizen, not allowed to ask? The man's suit size has gone down about 5 sizes. It looks like it's gone down 3 or 4 sizes in the last year. What's going on with Obama? I'm not allowed to ask, right? The king has no clothes. I didn't notice that. I didn't know that he's shriveling up and shrinking. What's wrong with him? Does he have an illness? I hope not. I pray not. I hope that he gets well. What illness does he have? I know he has a mental illness of progressivism. I know that that's an illness that's incurable, but maybe the physical illness can be treated by the geniuses at the hospitals there. Unbelievable to me. He has no complete ISIS strategy. He's waiting for it. President of the United States, most powerful military, he has no complete ISIS strategy. I guess the girl who writes it for him was away on vacation with her wife. And hasn't been written yet. When she comes back from the honeymoon with her wife, she can write the ISIS strategy, her and her girlfriend. That's the administration. Huh? Yeah, go ahead. Play it again. Play it again.
When a finalized plan is presented to me by the Pentagon, then I will share it with the American people. It's not. We don't yet have a complete strategy because it requires commitments on the part of the Iraqis as well.
Hit a deep breath
about how recruitment takes place, how that training takes place, and so the details of that are not yet worked out.
Sickening. Any other president would have been called into a mental hospital for an evaluation by 5 psychiatrists because they would say, look, Johnny, it's not selling. Listen, Johnny, whatever you just said, we all heard you were whistling in the dark. We know what you're talking about, and the world's in trouble now. So you're coming into a board of psychiatrists for an analysis. We're worried for the country and the world because you're a nut. You're a clear nut, Johnny. Okay, so you're coming in for a test, a full battery of mental tests, because we don't know what's going on. You're losing weight. You're not making sense. We hear you're lying. When we hear you stretch out the vowels like how, we know you're inventing. We know when you suck in air just before you say something, you're lying. We have the CIA voice analysts who told us that. They just listened to your speech. When you stretch out the vowels, we know you're thinking for your next Whopper. And when you hear that one, you know when the next Whopper is coming. When you hear him sucking in air like... You know what's coming next. It's the next inhalation of the electronic cigarette outside where no one can see it. So anyway, you get the picture? Yeah, I think you get the picture. Okay, let's go to the callers. M.A.L., Washington, D.C. Welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Line 6?
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
I'd just like to point out that the United States does not have an official language, so for you to say that anyone who comes to this country needs to learn English is completely uninformed and actually...
That's right, millennial. You facile millennial. The United States has no official language. Is that true?
It's true. The United States does not have...
It is true, Mr. Millennial. That's why I say we need an official language called English, where ballots will only be in the English language, Mr. Millennial.
Ridiculous.
Oh, so you like a Tower of Babel? Do you know any other nation on earth that prints ballots in every other language but its own?
No, I'm not saying every other language, but languages that are popularly spoken in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, popular languages. We make one up. The language du jour. Arabic, Spanish,